So I think Dr. Raju has already oriented you to the critical understanding of ICT paper just before the holidays, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So what did she orient you about? What was the orientation about? Anyone? What did she discuss in the orientation? I'm asking you because since I'm also teaching this course, I don't want to be repeating myself. So if I have an idea about what was discussed, I can take it from there.
She introduced more than like 22 different other websites and apps which we can use for presentation. And she told us that we can make a group of two and practice each of those presentation tools.
Yeah. And did she discuss the syllabus with you?
Um,
Did she go through the syllabus?
I'm not sure.
Anyone is sure?
No, ma'am. I don't remember she like discussed the syllabus.
All right.
I
And
don't remember. I don't.
yes, and she would have told you about the um, tasks and assignments.
Yes, ma'am. Those like assignments were given like yesterday only.
Okay. So how many tasks and assignments have already been given to you?
We were given Wordle and a QR code generator
Yes.
before the vacation, and now we were given like we have to represent present an ICT tool in a group, like group of two.
Okay. And what about the website creation? Has she discussed it with you?
Yeah, ma'am. She also told about Google Sites. We have to create a Google site. She also explained something like Google Sites.
Right.
And
So those will count for 30 marks total. The Wordle and QR code will be 5 marks, as if I'm sure we had discussed that. Rather, Raju ma'am and myself had discussed that, and the other two will be 10 marks. Is that clear? So how many marks does that leave us?
10 marks.
20 marks. Because the Wordle is 5 marks and the QR code is 5 marks. Website creation is 5 marks, and your presentation, which you said is sorry, that's 10 marks, and your presentation is 10 marks. So that's a total of 30 marks.
And website creation part
That
is
website,
only
when do you have to submit?
I think she will tell you about her tasks and assignments, about the submitting date. I mean, uh, I know the date, but I don't want to be telling you. It is your Google Sites which you were talking about,
Yes, ma'am. That's
right?
yes, ma'am. I want to say one thing.
Yes.
That website creation is only given to roll number 26 to 50,
Okay.
and that is for the I remember is for IC2, that educational management. In that,
Ah,
ma'am gave that website creation as a
okay.
SLE.
All right. That's okay. So we'll leave that out. I just want to know total how many marks has she already told you?
So 5 marks, as you said, for QR generator and Wordle,
Yes.
and 10 marks for the ICT tool which we are going to create now in groups.
Yes.
That's only
That's
two
all.
only. Yeah.
Only. Okay. Fine. So I'll give you the tasks and assignments from my side. But before that, I would like to go through the syllabus with you just briefly so that we know in what context we are discussing. So I'm just pulling out the B.Ed syllabus. So again, I will ask you that question, which I asked right in the beginning. Why do you think this course is titled as Critical Understanding of ICT rather than ICT Applications in Education?
Ma'am, I
Yes.
so critical basically means thinking about the rationale behind it, or maybe reasoning that why does that particular ICT tool exist? Why
Yes.
is it gonna be used, or what's the purpose? So I think that's the reason it's called critical understanding of that tool.
Okay. Anyone else? Yes. Anyone else about why it is critical understanding of ICT?
Ma'am, because it is not limited just to education, but also relevant and applicable to other field also.
Okay. Yes. So here is the syllabus of ICT, which we are dealing with. And when we are discussing about ICT in education, already with your scaffolding digital competencies, you are exploring several tools. One, you're exploring several tools, presenting those tools, practicing with those tools. So you get to learn a lot of ICT applications in education. And in this course, we are trying to, what we are trying to achieve is that student teachers make responsible use of technology, keeping in mind the broader context. So whenever we talk about technology, uh, we are talking about digital tools which are being used, especially in applying to education. But we need to understand the larger context of that. For example, we always try to get someone in to teach you about ethical hacking and about the pitfalls of using technology. So we have an expert generally come in to give a session on that. So our we look at technology not only from the point of view of applying technology, but understanding the larger implications of that. So, for example, we are connected via social media uh, to literally the whole world. So I can communicate with someone and follow their ideas, somebody who's living across the globe in some corner of some, uh, far off, maybe European or Western or Eastern country. But to what extent is that technology enabling me, and what is what we are missing out on? So we are trying to understand about ICT use, because you will be dealing with young students, and the way you use technology and the way you um, deal with it, the way you discuss about it, with your students is going to, in a sense, shape their ideas about technology, because sometimes we can get swept away with technology, and we need to understand that these are tools which we use, rather than get kind of swept away with it. And another aspect that we always need to understand with technology is that it is constantly getting outdated, and there's always something new. So in a sense, there's a kind of impermanence in the technology you use. The phone which you bought 5 years ago is nowhere like the phone which you're using today. And a couple of years down the line, you can only imagine what the features of your mobile phone will be like. I've seen technology used, 3D modeling. I've seen a video of a surgeon practice operating uh, on somebody's, organs, and then going and applying that in the real situation. So that is something amazing. So you don't know around the corner what is there. So one of the things that we need to make sure is that we are aware that these tools which we use are temporary, and tomorrow there will be newer, better tools. And in this course, you understand about ICT, what is the concept, and what is your role in ICT enabled education. Also, some of the legal and ethical issues, and this is where the critical understanding comes in. So, privacy issues, and so on. So many issues. If I talk about a simple use of recording this lecture and how it is going to be used in the future, there are a whole lot of legal and ethical issues which come into play. Of course, we don't focus on that, or we don't speak about it, but the truth is that there are issues which underlie each and every use of technology. Also, in the second unit, you will explore instructional design briefly through the ADDIE model, and uh, develop learning resources on various topics using ICT tools. And I think you are already doing that within your scaffolding digital technologies. The learning management system concept, I think all of you are familiar with it. Our BTTC Shiksha is a learning management system, and you will learn in detail about the concepts, features, and applications. Some of the emerging trends in e-learning will be dealt with in Unit 3, and hopefully we can cover many of these topics like social learning, which already you're doing. I think you're already masters at this, using open educational resources and mobile learning. And I think MOOCs is something you don't need to be taught about. You're all aware of it. Am I right? How many of you have, many of you have completed a MOOC, as far as my last interaction went with some of you. The last unit, use of ICT in evaluation, education, evaluation, administration, and research. So that ICT for research is going to help you in your fourth semester, where you'll have your research project. And of course, the online and offline assessment tools. Already you have a taste of that. You've used probably You've done MCQs online, you've used Google Forms, I'm sure, and you have given an exam online. So this is like, you can teach me better than I can teach you. And of course, the concept of e-portfolio. So these are some of the things that we will touch upon. So in this course, we do not go according to the syllabus, as in you're not giving a written examination at the end of the semester. You are doing tasks and assignments. So those topics will be dealt with, whatever is mentioned in those 4 units will be dealt with indirectly, sometimes directly. So it's not that we will start from unit 1 and end at unit 4, but we will extract from those ideas the most important ones which you will not maybe come across otherwise. And uh, we will focus more also on learning through the tasks and assignments. So coming to the evaluation of this course, already you know about 20 marks. Um, from my side, what I will give you as task and assignment is the creation of an e-portfolio or a creation of a digital portfolio. I will explain to you what is a digital portfolio and what is involved. And we'll keep 20 marks for it. If the examination committee is going to ask me for breakup of 10 marks within the assignments, then in that case, I will pick up elements from the portfolio and assign 10 marks to a few elements and 10 marks to some other few elements. And that's how I may break it up and give the marks to the examination committee. So normally we give 10 marks for the portfolio. I mean, in the past or in previous years, we have done that. And the students rightly were challenged because in those days, ICT was in the first semester. And by the first semester, they don't have a deep enough understanding of their practice as teachers to be able to make a portfolio. But you are now into your second semester, and unlike those students who had limited exposure, you have had I think there have been intensive learning experiences for you. And I would say the scaffolding digital competencies is an intensive learning experience. So you are much more experienced. So you will be able to deal with a portfolio 20 marks. Now, another reason that we always want to give you something which sustains beyond the B.Ed years. So your e-portfolio or digital portfolio, you can call it a teaching portfolio, may form the basis for a portfolio, a professional portfolio, if you please, in the future. So as a teacher, uh, in earlier times, we had our CV. So when I was applying for for jobs at various points in my life, various points because shifting with my husband in a transferable job, I was constantly leaving one job and moving on to the next. So I only had my CV, and it was sometimes it was a 2-page CV, sometimes it was a 3-page CV, depending on what the school wanted, and there was nothing else besides. I think for the very first job, I did take along my lesson plan file and some, things which we had done in the B.Ed, but that wasn't looked at. But in today's times, in the digital world in which we live, it is important for a teacher to have an online presence. Uh, and what better way than to have a teaching portfolio? So when I give you this task or assignment, and giving you 20 whole marks for it. Understand that it is for a reason, and that what we will try to do is create this portfolio during this semester, and then through your third and fourth semester you will keep adding to it. Of course, that will not be involved in the marks. Whatever you complete in this semester will be there will be marks for it. So before I continue, I would like to ask you, what do you understand by teaching portfolio? What is your understanding of the word? Let's start with the word portfolio.
So, ma'am, portfolio is basically like a folder or a document which has a lot of things in it in detail.
Right. So you could have a physical portfolio, am I right?
Yes, ma'am, probably.
And you could have a digital portfolio or online portfolio. Uh, it could be online or it could be digital and offline. So you can make a portfolio on your computer, which you don't put up in the public domain, but you could, if say you are, let's say, applying for a job, or if somebody has asked for your profile, is something you could probably email to them. So when we think of the word portfolio, this comes to mind. But why do you call it portfolio? And also, can you think of a portfolio in any other context apart from the one in which we are discussing?
Modeling portfolio. They have portfolios in modeling, ma'am.
Right, right. Very nice. Yes. What do you think would go into a modeling portfolio?
Your pics, basically pics taken by photographers,
Yes.
professional photographers.
Yes. And I guess for a model, uh, what do you think he or she can project through that portfolio?
Their confidence, the way that they pose or present themselves.
Yes.
Also the kind of work that they have done previously.
Past work. Very good. Very good. Yes. Anyone else?
Ma'am, the range and capabilities.
Excellent. Excellent. Range and capabilities. That yes, I can picture it in my head. Uh, how every model or every have their own strengths or USPs, which they are, they are known for. So there is, let's say there could be a very fat man, very chubby, very short, very funny looking, with a very expressive face. His range and he is also a model in one sense, not a model. Maybe he would be in some ad films or in some advertisement, a 2D advertisement or a video ad, and like, yeah, one second. Right. So there's so much You can. I mean, it would work with a model. Yes, every model would need a portfolio. What about artists?
They could show the mediums in which they work.
Yes. Okay, you can take it. Sorry for the interruption. Yes. So, various professions could find use for a portfolio, and so also for teachers. Now, if you were applying for a job, what do you think you would like to put in your portfolio? Or what would it be? It would be some sort of a collection. Am I right? So, what would be in that collection?
Achievements, certificates,
All right. Achievements and certificates, yes. But that is uh, there in your one second. So your achievements and certificate is also there in your certificate file. So what's the big deal with achievements and certificates? Yes, you can put it into a portfolio. But that, I mean, your whole when you are asked to send your supporting documents, and if you do it online, you would create a PDF file which would have all your documents. What's a portfolio is about? Yes, it should be there maybe at the end of your portfolio, but before that, is there anything else you would put there?
ma'am, my resume.
Right, your resume. Yes, so your resume uh, which you send otherwise also. Yes.
Lesson plan, like how you teach, like what's your strategy of teaching?
Right, your strategy of teaching. So probably you would pick out some of your best lesson plans, and you would write it in a way which is more interesting. You would not write it in a technical way. Maybe you will make it one page, because nobody would be interested in seeing like a 5-page lesson plan which normally works out. You'd probably just put the teaching learning aspect in it and focus on that rather than on the objectives and such other things. So a lesson plan, but presented in a different way possibly.
And ma'am, I remember we got an assignment from your side in semester one, in which you asked like about like some subject. I don't remember the topic actually. It was like, how will you teach that subject in your class? Some kind of assignment you gave us in sem one.
So the assignment which I probably gave you, I'm guessing, I don't remember, but it would have been about your um, statement of teaching philosophy, a statement of your philosophy of teaching, or what you believe about, or your philosophy of education.
So ma'am, we can include that also in our.
Yes. So that would be right at the beginning. The very first page of your portfolio typically is your teaching philosophy statement. So I would say all these elements are important. What you normally otherwise send, like a resume, or your maybe a resume could be the beginning, but your supporting documents, just like in your application you attach it, so at the end of your portfolio you have your supporting documents. But when you're looking through a portfolio of an artist, you realize that you realize the, uh, whole range of things which that artist does. Suppose he or she works with watercolors. Maybe there are several techniques with watercolors. There are maybe several, you know, uh, things with which that artist has done. Maybe there's a whole set of, nature kind of scenes. There's a whole set of portraits. So maybe they'll pick up one from here, one from there. So, for example, maybe you've made a digital tool for your scaffolding digital competencies, let's say. You've used some particular tool, you've made a video that would go into your portfolio, and you can do that with a digital portfolio. Maybe you have taken an actual video of your lesson in the classroom, if it's a face-to-face class. That could be included. Maybe somebody has said good things about you. So some teachers put feedback from their students, what the students has said about the teacher, or what some colleague has said, or so your peers, what they say about you, what your students say about you. So that could be one section in the portfolio. Can you think of any other things which could go into a portfolio?
Ma'am, even recommendations
Uh,
come. Can we put
right.
recommendations?
Recommendations, yes, recommendation letters. Suppose you've done some innovative thing.
Ma'am,
Yeah, yes.
ma'am, you just told that the video, like if you are taking a physical lecture, that video can be added in the portfolio. So why can't we add like if in a Zoom meeting we are taking a lecture, we can't add that if we recorded it.
Probably yes, you can. Maybe the school may have an issue, and even with recording a recording a video in school, maybe the school may object. It may not be. Their parents may have issues, privacy issues. If your video is, let's say, in the public domain, suppose you've created an online website and made your portfolio on your website, uh, maybe parents may object. So maybe that video may be only of you teaching. Maybe if you've done an interesting project,
Yes, ma'am.
you know what you mean by project. It could be a research project, it could be some other project, educational or academic, which you've undertaken. A representation of that could go into your portfolio. So these are some things which, so you will understand that portfolio can't be made in a day. As they say, Rome was not built in a day. So, and I know you will tell me that, yeah, it can be created in one semester. So what we will do is, for the purpose of this task and assignment, we will think of specific things which you would surely include in your portfolio in order to begin to construct your portfolio. So uh, uh, by 1st August, by 1st September, by 1st October, if you look at it sequentially at your portfolio, you will see that every month it is kind of building up, brick by brick by brick, like all the best monuments are built brick by brick. That's how you will build your portfolio, and you will keep adding to it. So let's this. Are there any other ideas which any of you would like to share? So what I'm looking for is one of the portfolios which a student of mine had done. So now this is a portfolio which this student of mine, I think she was a student maybe 10-15 years ago, and this portfolio probably has been made 5 years ago. At a time when anyway digital technology was not that much in use, but look at what she's done. She's created, because she had to share it with her potential employers, she's made it in a PDF file. So there's a cover page to the portfolio. So surely you will make some kind of a cover page. You can figure out what is your style and represent your unique style on the cover page. Then she's put a table of contents, which helps. You know, it just helps. Maybe the table of contents can be presented in a different way. Then she's given an about me. Just like on a website, you always have on these websites, right? About us, about me. If it's a personal website, it's about me. So here she writes a little bit about herself, just one page. Then her CV. So uh, that is again one page, very concise as you can see. Then teaching philosophy. So this need not be the order, but this is how she has done it. At that time we had discussed, and we had discussed this order of things, but of course this was a long time ago, and now since then kind of technology has advanced and our view of technology has evolved, so we would probably do so. That's actually one page, a little bit of overflow onto the second page. It could as well be one page or two pages. Then she's talked about her discipline plan. So uh, essentially trying to project that she has thought about discipline. Maybe in those days discipline was something very important, and therefore she thought about this. Or she maybe faced very indisciplined classes and had to struggle. So one thing about her is that this student of mine, or student of ours, is that she was really very hardworking, and every problem she faced, she would try to figure out and break her head and then try to solve that problem. So my guess is that she, in her early years, she faced a lot of discipline problems in the school, devised some strategies, and felt that she should share it. So here are some of her strategies. That has gone into 2 pages. My guess is overflow, and it should have been 1 page. My teaching approach, I would probably put this before the discipline. Um, and of course this portfolio uh, was the final portfolio which she sent me at that time, but obviously she has added to the portfolio. So my teaching approach, and then she's added some photographs here. So she was in the US, and she didn't have her green card, and so obviously there were restrictions on employment. So she did a lot of volunteer work. So some of it is from her volunteer work over there, images, and probably she's asked permission for using these images, and some are probably from her time spent in cathedral. Now she's given one, how I plan the backward design process. So how she plans her lesson. This is what she's put in. So that this one is interesting. Identify desired results, determine evidence, and plan learning experiences and instructions. So here she's put in a cycle. Obviously, she was influenced by it, or she liked it a lot, or she found it useful in her work. And having a visual like this is interesting, though obviously you should not normally you should not put something else there unless you have changed some part of it. So if you base, let's say, if there's some theoretical model and you base your work on it and you have made changes, then that is fine. So this, that I'm not sure about the inquiry cycle, but I guess she has put in her some of her ideas in this. Then there's a sample lesson plan. So you can see the unit of inquiry. Then so she's represented the plan in this way, uh, using this graphic, and then there's the lesson plan. Now here the whole lesson plan is there, which is fine. She made this for a particular purpose, so which probably justified the entire lesson plan. If you're just making a general thing, you would probably just put one page, unless you know your employer is looking for something specific. Sample work of students. So not only your work, but what your students have learned and done. Finally, a page on assessment and evaluation. Her first teaching experience. So just a few lines about her first teaching experience at Kangaroo Kids. Then second teaching experience at Cathedral. Uh, another yeah, you can see that little red circle there. Third teaching experience. So obviously you won't have this field trip. Okay, so maybe if not field trip, I can think of your community work. So maybe one page about the community work which you did, that could be workable. So here is uh, normally when we have our face-to-face lectures, we always have a couple of educational visits to some school or something. So this is okay. As a professional, she has added her experience, technology in her classroom. So technology in the classroom, she's talking about iPads, projector. Now if you are making a word technology in the classroom, or what you do in the classroom using technology, um, your thing would be very different from, let's say, iPads or just projector. It would be much more. And the purpose of this page, let's say, is to kind of inform the uh, kind of project to the potential employer that she has used technology and to what level she has used technology. Of course, 5 years later and 10 years later, and in pandemic times, it is assumed that everyone is tech savvy, and that each of them, and many of those tools which be considered something, something to be learned or something special, now is second nature to use. So for example, people use Zoom and all the features of Zoom as if they're just going out for a walk, so they're comfortable with it. So you may like to project your use of technology. uh, Extracurricular activities. So here she is given evidences of her French, the French that she, because she was, so here there is some kind of assessment of her French, um, some Spanish classes which she's taken. Maybe some of you have done some courses which you would like to share. So here all this at the end, right at the end, there are all certificates and stuff. And of course, finally, there's a goal. So maybe this could come somewhere just before the. So this is one specific. I would send you this portfolio, but since it's I haven't got permission to send it to anybody, I won't. And anyway, by now this format is pretty outdated. What you do may be more digitally advanced, because by now you are digital natives, and you'll be more comfortable with it. So I think we should decide briefly. Has the next person come on? Okay, you have pedagogy next. Fine. So we will discuss more about it in the next class, about what exactly we want. But for sure, your teaching philosophy statement will be there. One good lesson plan will be there, and um, there will be many other artifacts. You call them artifacts. There's a message in the group. All right. Just leave her name out of it, whatever. So whatever you put in your portfolio, you call them as artifacts. So we will decide what you will put in your portfolio, and we will decide a minimum number which everyone will do. Over and above that will be your choice. So what will be your deadlines? July is almost over, right? So you will have, I will see your portfolio at 2 stages. So one will be around, I'll tell you the date. Calendar. Yes. So it's almost August now. So on September 1st, so your deadline will be not September 1st, it will be 31st August. 31st August, you have 1 month from today. That will be the first time that you will send me your portfolio. The first stage, in which those limited number of things will be there, plus what you want to add. So you have 1 good month in which to do this work. We will, I will check, you will send it to me. I will check your portfolios within a week, and I will give you feedback on it. And then you will have another month. That will be, so 1st of September, I told you, right? And then, no, I told you 31st August, and then 30th September is your second date, the last day of August and the last day of September. That's your time. So whatever feedback I give you in early September for the portfolio which you submitted, that you will incorporate, and you have another few weeks, another 4 weeks or 3 weeks or 2 weeks to work on it, and you submit it by 30th September. So are you clear with the deadlines? 30th September means 12 o'clock midnight on 30th September. That means on 1st August in the morning when I check, I should be able to find it. Also, the previous assignments, I think you have put on that examination folder.
Ma'am, on BTTC Shiksha, we have uploaded.
You've uploaded it, is it?
Yes.
Okay. So, yes, so I will create a link and I will share with you the link where you have to upload your links. So, what is the modality? How will you make that portfolio? Will it be online? Will it be offline? That we will discuss next time. We surely want it to be online. So we need to find some place on the internet where you can have that portfolio, whether it's your blogspot or it's a blogging platform or it's a teaching portfolio platform, or if does anyone have a website here? Website as in which is yours?
Yes,
Like
ma'am, I have, but it's like a Google site website.
it's a Google site. Okay. Nobody has anybody has a what is that Wix? Wix is it Wix? Wix site, these free sites.
Yes, ma'am, Wix is free. It's a
Yeah.
free site.
So we will figure out what will be the online mode and how it will be in the offline mode. So we will have the same thing offline as well, maybe as a PDF file or as a presentation, and the online will be on some site. Maybe everything may not, you may not be able to put it online because of restriction, and BTTC Shiksha has restrictions of space and kind of data speed and things like that. So we will work it out the next time. So are you clear?
Ma'am, I had a question.
Yes.
Since we are to include the teaching philosophy as a part of the portfolio, is there a way of getting feedback on the work that we've already submitted to you?
Yes. So I told you around 31st August, you're going to send me the first stage. So at that time, I will mark you for 10 marks. I will give you feedback on it and you will have a month to work on it. And then I will give you another 10 marks. So even the marks will be divided at both these stages. And if you send it to me earlier, I'll be happy to give you feedback on it. So we'll discuss that the next time. Now the pedagogy
Okay,
teachers are
thank you.
probably waiting. We have nicely shot our time. Yeah. Yes. So breakout room.
Ambika,
Yes, sir.
breakout rooms.
Sir,
Please, sir, is host.
Yeah, it's created.
Ranjit.
So yeah, I'm there.
So are you able to get? Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, ma'am.
Morning, ma'am.
पहले staff member को या just one sec, ma'am.
Sir, to me it's showing create breakout rooms.
Yeah, I will be
Only
opening
what
it.
has
I'm
happened?
opening it. We can start join.
Thank you, Ranjit sir.
You're welcome, becha. Manisha ma'am, which room?
I can join economics.
You got the list in front of you. ठीक है.